The route that wasn't on the map, the morning route always started before sunrise. Cold fog covered the empty suburban streets. My yellow school bus engine hummed steadily. Kids would usually start boarding by 6:40. That day, the road felt strangely silent. I checked the route sheet again. Everything looked completely normal. Same stops, same order, same timing. Nothing new had been added overnight. At least, that's what I thought. At the third stop, one boy boarded quietly. I didn't recognize him at all. He wore an old gray hoodie, face pale, eyes fixed on the floor. He didn't say a single word. I asked for his name politely. He whispered something too soft to hear. Before I could ask again, he had already walked past me, choosing the very last seat. Kids usually talk or laugh loudly, but the bus stayed unnaturally quiet. Even the regular students whispered softly. Some glanced nervously toward the back, like they didn't want to look too long. In the mirror, I checked again. The boy sat completely still, not looking out the window, not moving or fidgeting, just staring at the seat in front. At the next stop, a girl stepped onto the bus slowly. She froze after scanning inside. Her eyes widened slightly. Then she whispered, "He's back." I frowned in confusion. "Who's back?" I asked gently. She shook her head quickly, refusing to explain anything, then rushed to sit near the front. As we'd rub on, the fog grew thicker outside. Houses blurred into gray shapes. Road signs became hard to read. Even the GPS signal flickered briefly. I checked the time on the dash. We were running exactly on schedule. Still nothing unusual about the route. Just one more rural stop ahead, a quiet gravel road near the woods. When we reached it, no child waited there, just the empty roadside sign. I started to pull away slowly. Then something hit the bus door. A loud thud echoed sharply. I slammed the brakes instantly. Kids gasped behind me. I opened the door carefully. No one stood outside. But on the first step, a small, muddy footprint appeared. Fresh, wet, like someone had just climbed in. I checked the mirror quickly. The last seat now had two figures. The gray-hooded boy still sitting, and beside him, another child, also silent, also unfamiliar. Neither had boarded past me. I was sure of that. My hands tightened on the wheel. Did anyone see them get on? No one answered from the seats. One little boy whispered quietly, "They always get on there." A cold chill spread slowly. "What do you mean, always?" He looked terrified to answer, then spoke barely above a breath. "They ride when the fog comes." I forced a nervous smile, told everyone to stay seated, closed the door firmly again, and kept driving the route. But the mirror felt heavier now. Every few seconds, I checked the back again. The two unknown kids didn't move, didn't talk, didn't blink, just staring straight forward. Then the radio crackled suddenly, dispatch voice breaking through static. "Bus 12, confirm your location." I reached for the mic quickly. "Route 7, approaching Pine Hill." Static burst loudly again. Then dispatch answered, slowly, Bus 12. Route 7 was cancelled. My stomach dropped instantly. That route closed 2 years ago. I stared at the road ahead. Fog parted just slightly, revealing a rusted sign nearby, letters barely readable now. Pine Hill Road, closed. In the mirror behind me, the gray-hooded boy finally moved. His head lifted slowly, eyes meeting mine through the glass, and he whispered silently, "Don't stop the bus." My hands tightened on the steering wheel. I kept the bus moving forward slowly. Dispatch kept calling through static, but their voice sounded far away now, like the signal was fading fast. The fog thickened around the road, trees pressed closer on both sides. The pavement turned uneven and cracked. I didn't remember this section at all. It wasn't part of any school route. Behind me, the bus stayed silent. No kids laughing or talking anymore. Just the low engine rumble and the occasional seat creak, like someone shifting in the back. I checked the mirror again carefully. Now 3 unknown children sat there, all wearing dull, muddy clothes. All perfectly still and pale. None of them had boarded normally. One regular student near the front started breathing faster and faster. He whispered toward his friend softly, "They shouldn't be here today." His friend just covered his ears. I grabbed the radio microphone. "Dispatch, I need directions," I said. Only harsh static screamed back. Then a faint, broken sentence emerged. "Not on any active road." The GPS screen blinked suddenly. Map froze, then turned blank gray. A small message replaced the route. Signal. L-O-S-T. Unknown area. My pulse hammered harder instantly. A soft ding sounded behind me. Like the stop request bell, I glanced up at the mirror. One of the pale kids stood slowly, pointing toward the bus door. "We get off here," he whispered. His voice sounded dry and hollow. I looked ahead at the road. There was no stop sign, no house, no driveway, nothing. "I can't stop here," I replied. The child tilted his head slightly. "You stopped last time," he said. A cold shiver crawled up my neck. I've never been here before. The child's expression didn't change. "Ye have," he murmured softly. "Every time the fog comes." The other pale kids nodded slowly, seats creaking in quiet agreement. A loud bang hit the bus roof. Several kids screamed instantly. Something heavy dragged above us. Long scraping sounds moving backward, like footsteps crossing the metal. I forced myself to keep driving. The road narrowed even more. Branches scratched along the windows, dark shapes moving through the fog, almost keeping pace beside us. Another ding rang loudly. This time, from the very back, all the pale children stood together. 6 of them now, not 3. I never saw the others board. "Open the door," one said calmly. My throat felt completely dry. "I can't," I answered shakily. "They're waiting." Another whispered, "They're always waiting outside." A regular student began crying loudly. "She stopped last year too," he sobbed. My heart nearly skipped a beat. "What do you mean last year?" He shook violently in his seat. "The old driver," he cried softly. She opened the door in the fog. No one saw her again. The bus filled with terrified silence. Even the engine sounded quieter. The scraping on the roof stopped. Then came 3 heavy knocks above, directly over my seat. Slow, deliberate, patient knocks. Exactly 3 times. Into mirror, all the pale kids turned together. Not toward the door anymore, but toward me at the wheel. Eyes wide and unblinking. One of them smiled faintly. "You don't remember yet," he whispered, "but you will." His fingers slowly pointed forward, "because this is where you stopped." Through the fog ahead, I finally saw something appear. A yellow school bus, parked sideways across the road. Old rusted, completely abandoned. Its number read clearly on the side. Bush 12. I slammed the brakes instinctively. My bus screeched loudly on gravel. The fog swirled around the headlights. That abandoned yellow bus blocked everything. Same number painted on its side. Bus Dosi, my exact bus number. Same faded district logo. Same dent near the rear wheel. Like a broken reflection of mine, my passengers stayed completely silent. No whispers, no crying now. Just dozens of small eyes watching, waiting for what I'd do next. The pale children stood unmoving. I grabbed the radio again. "Dispatch! Emergency!" I shouted. Only dead static answered back. Then a faint, distorted reply came. Driver never reported back. Cold fear tightened my chest. I stepped on the horn repeatedly. The sound echoed strangely in fog. The abandoned bus didn't move. No lights, no engine, nothing. "Stay seated," I told the kids. My voice barely sounded steady. I opened my door cautiously. Cold morning air rushed inside, carrying a damp, earthy smell. The road felt too quiet outside. Even birds made no sound. I stepped down slowly from the bus. Gravel crunching under my shoes, fog swallowing everything past 10 feet. The abandoned bus loomed ahead. Its door hung slightly open, paint peeling in long yellow strips. Windows dark and clouded inside, like empty eyes staring back. Behind me, my bus engine idled. Low rumble, steady and familiar. But when I glanced back briefly, every child inside watched silently. None of them blinking at all. I forced myself forward slowly. Each step felt heavier somehow. The open door creaked softly, hanging loose in rusted hinges, inviting me closer without sound. I reached the steps carefully. A faint smell drifted out. Old vino, damp metal, something sour, like the bus had been sealed for a very, very long time. Inside, the seats looked dusty. School bags still scattered around. A lunchbox lay open sideways. Papers yellowed with age. Like time froze. Then I noticed the driver's seat. Someone was sitting there, still slumped slightly forward, wearing the district driver uniform. My breath caught painfully. I climbed one step higher. The figure didn't move at all. One hand rested on the wheel. The other hung stiff at the side. I whispered carefully, "Hello?" No response came back. I moved closer with shaking legs, until I could finally see the face, and my stomach dropped instantly. It was me. Same hair, same uniform badge, same small scar on my chin. Eyes half open and lifeless. Skin gray and dry. I stumbled backward in horror, nearly slipping on the steps. My ears rang loudly. Heart hammering painfully hard. "That's not possible," I gasped. Behind me, from the fog, I heard children's footsteps. Soft, slow, approaching together, not from my bus behind, from somewhere in the trees. I turned slowly toward the sound. Shapes formed in the mist. Dozens of children standing there, all wearing old school clothes, all silent and pale. Among them stood the gray-hooded boy. He looked exactly the same. Mud-stained shoes, hollow eyes. He stepped closer than the rest and spoke quietly to me. "You opened the door last time." My throat tightened painfully. "I don't remember that," I whispered. He nodded gently in reply. "You will soon," I sighed softly. Drivers always do. I shook my head desperately. I never drove this road before. The boy pointed past me calmly, toward my running bus behind. "Then why is it still waiting?" I turned quickly in fear. My bus stood in the road, door still open wide, but now the driver's seat was empty. No one sat at the wheel anymore. The engine kept running, slowly. The bus door began closing by itself. The route never ends. The bus door slammed shut loudly. The engine roared deeper, suddenly. I ran toward it in panic, gravel slipping under my shoes. "WIIT!" I screamed desperately. The headlights flickered once brightly. Then the bus began rolling forward. Slow at first, then faster. No driver at the wheel inside. Only rows of watching children. I pounded against the side. "Stop the bus!" Primera shouted. Through the window glass, I saw every child staring silently. None moved to help me. At the very back seat, the pale gray-hooded boy sat calmly. He raised one hand slowly and tapped the glass 3 times. Exactly the same rhythm again. The bus kept moving into fog. Its taillights faded slowly away, leaving only silence behind, and the abandoned, rusted bus, still waiting across the road. My breathing shook uncontrollably. Cold air bit into my chest. Behind me, the forest children stood perfectly still in mist, watching me like they expected something. The gray-hooded boy spoke again, but now from behind me. I spun around in shock. He stood only a few feet away. The others lined the road silently. "You can't leave the route," he said. His voice sounded almost gentle. "There must always be a driver." I shook my head in disbelief. "I'm not staying here. He pointed calmly at the bus. The abandoned one beside us. Its interior suddenly glowed faintly. Dashboard lights flickering alive, engine coughing weakly. To life, a deep mechanical rumble followed. Old tires creaked against gravel. The door hissed open slowly. Warm, stale air drifting out, like the bus was breathing again. I stepped backward in fear. "I'm not getting in there." The boy's expression didn't change. "You already did," he whispered softly. "You just don't remember yet." My head throbbed painfully. A strange memory surfaced suddenly. Foggy morning. Same road. Kids shouting behind me, and something knocking on the roof. I remembered stopping the bus, opening the door into fog. Hearing children step outside, walking away into the trees. Then silence, swallowing everything. My hands trembled violently. "I tried to find them," I whispered. The boy nodded slowly. "And you never came back," he said. So the route kept running. I looked at the abandoned bus, driver's seat, empty and waiting. Steering wheel slightly, turning itself, like impatient hands tapped it. Waiting for someone to take over. From deep inside the forest, a distant school bell rang faintly. Low, echoing, unnatural sound. All the pale children turned together, facing the open bus door. "It's time," the boy murmured. One by one, they began walking past me. Small, silent footsteps on gravel, climbing into the old bus slowly. Taking dusty seats inside, none looked at me anymore. Like I was already decided, like my choice didn't matter. The last one to board was the gray-hooded boy. He paused at the steps. Looked back at me, quietly. "We'll forget again," he said softly. "But you'll still drive." Drivers always do. Then he disappeared inside. The door stayed open, engine rumbling patiently. Fog curling around the wheels, waiting for the route to continue. Waiting for its driver. My legs felt strangely heavy, like the road pulled me forward. Each step slow, but unstoppable, until I stood at the bus entrance, hand resting on cold metal rail. Inside smelled old and damp, but the dashboard lights glowed warmly. The driver's seat looked worn, perfectly shaped for me somehow. Like I had sat there for years, I sank into the seat slowly, hands settling on the wheel. It felt familiar instantly. Too familiar to be wrong. The door hissed closed behind me. The mirrors adjusted themselves, showing rows of silent children, all facing forward patiently, waiting for the ride to begin. Not a single one blinking. The radio crackled softly. A dispatcher's voice whispered faintly, "Bus 12. Confirm your route?" My mouth answered automatically. "Route Pine Hill. Starting pickup." The bus rolled forward smoothly, fog swallowing the road ahead. The abandoned version of me still sat frozen in memory, but this bus felt real now. As we drove deeper, a new stop sign appeared ahead. Fresh, clean, newly painted, a small child waited beside it, wearing a modern school backpack. I opened the door slowly. The child climbed aboard quietly, face pale, eyes uncertain. "First time on this route?" I heard myself ask. Gently, he nodded nervously. I forced a calm driver's smile. "Don't worry," I told him softly. "We always finish the route." He walked toward the back silently. The door closed again. The bus pulled into fog. Engine humming endlessly, route stretching without end. Morning never fully arriving, and somewhere far behind us, another yellow bus would appear, blocking the road for someone new, waiting patiently in the mist for the next driver to stop. Because on Pine Hill Road, the school bus always runs, and the driver never really leaves.